For a third episode of the Excerpt Talks, I spoke with Michael Eisenwasser, GM and co-founder of Rapyd Cloud, a relatively new player in the WordPress hosting space offering a solution that addresses the technical challenges associated with running high-traffic dynamic websites. As the former co-founder, president, and CTO of BuddyBoss, he knows these challenges very well. In our conversation, we don't dive deeply into the technical aspects. Instead, we explore the numbers behind an example agency offering, a WAS-like solution for running membership websites. We look at what's packaged up to deliver the solution, costs involved, customer pricing, and how to achieve a healthy margin. Here are the main ideas from our talk. Productize your services to offer them as a subscription model. Instead of relying on one-off projects, think about turning your services into recurring packages. Target niche, high-value segments. Rather than trying to serve everyone, specialize in a niche, like membership websites or private communities. Partner strategically. This is perhaps most important for smaller players with limited resources. Collaborate with partners who complement what you offer, whether it's hosting, security, performance optimization, or some other specialized solution. Build performance and reliability into your value proposition. We've heard this before and we'll hear it again. If your clients are running high-traffic WordPress websites, communities, e-learning platforms, online stores, then speed, uptime, and scalability are critical. Remember, they will be more than happy to pay for peace of mind. Engage in the WordPress ecosystem. We close the interview off with Michael's suggestions to show up in the real world and invest time making connections. Go to WordCamps, connect on LinkedIn, and meet other agency owners and developers. Collaboration and networking often leads to new partnerships, client referrals, and insights you won't get anywhere else. Thank you, Michael, for joining us for this third episode of the Excerpt Talks. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm familiar with Rapyd Cloud. I've been sort of following your story now for a couple of years, and it's quite exciting to see in market a product that has a very sort of kind of specific use case. You cater for these membership sites, high traffic membership sites, and probably a lot more. But please introduce yourself and maybe give us a little bit more of the lowdown on Rapyd Cloud.
Sure. Thank you, Lawrence. First off, thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm very happy to be here. So I'm the co-founder, and the general manager of Rapyd Cloud, which is a high-performance hosting company for WordPress, specifically sites that are dynamic. In other words, that have large amounts of concurrent users. Other hosts struggle, whereas Rapyd Cloud maintains very high performance and speed as you scale up. A bit about my background: I'm also the founder of BuddyBoss, which is probably the most well-known community building platform in the WordPress space. And so I started that with a business partner in 2010, and it was acquired just 2024 last year.
Yeah, that's it's a well-known brand in WordPress space for communities.
Sure.
So you mentioned that Rapyd Cloud was born specifically to address scaling and concurrency, right? So I suppose those are the biggest challenges if you're running a membership site, perhaps even running events when you see a lot of people coming online at the same time, right? So your technology addresses that, right?
Yeah, the service was built to solve a problem. It was built to solve a problem that our own customers were having. So we had tens of thousands of customers, and these people are running communities, right? They have members logged in. So your typical host or WordPress host is not built around that use case. Generally, they're built around the use case of aggressively cached websites, publishing sites where the content does not change a lot. But you can imagine something like Facebook, where you and I are logged in, your content, your messages, your notifications, your profile, everything you see is different than what I see. And so the site cannot just be cached. You have dynamic content that's unique to each user. That's the case not only for communities, also for membership platforms, e-commerce websites, e-learning, LearnDash, Tutor LMS, any of those, all have the same challenge. And Rapyd Cloud was built to be a solution for that allows those. Basically, when you have a lot of users all logged in at the same time, all seeing dynamic different content, the performance, the speed will stay fast, even at a high scale of users. Whereas your traditional hosts will all stall pretty dramatically in those scenarios.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I suppose this particular feature set is also what you're using in your marketing to differentiate yourself from a crowd of hosting providers that tend to be saying the same thing. So how would you describe your positioning in the market?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, we're called Rapyd because we're fast. So our primary benefit is the performance that we offer. Even for a regular publishing site, we're incredibly fast. But in particular, for a site that's got dynamic content and concurrency of users, we're going to be significantly faster. There's a third party, WP Lift, wrote an article where they tested Rapyd against a bunch of competitors, WP Engine, Cloudways, all the Kinsta, all the big ones you've heard of. And they scaled up to 5,000 concurrent users. And the other ones had 400% slowdowns. And Rapyd Cloud only had a 10%, or I think they said 11% slowdown. So that's our primary thing that we're doing. So we're really built for dynamic sites. In addition to that, we have best-in-class security. We're scanning your site for malware and fixing it and doing all that. We have 24/7 live chat support, and we have an easy to use. This is managed hosting, so we have an easy to use dashboard where you could administer and control your whole site from the dashboard. And we have free migration. So if you want to come to Rapyd Cloud, our team will assess your site and migrate your whole website over to us for free.
I looked at your feature set. I looked at also your support. So you seem to have been covering all bases, particularly for the niche that you're addressing. I also had a look at the partner section, and apart from agencies, I also noticed that you work with a lot of other WordPress products and solutions, right? So can you maybe talk a little bit about that particular strategy beyond the affiliate marketing, which is obviously something that you do and a lot of companies do?
You're talking about other vendors and partners that we collaborate with for the product?
Yeah.
So we partner with Monarchs. So Monarchs is doing security on the servers. So in the background, they are scanning the server for malware. And if there's any malware detected, then we can fix it. So we have them as a partner for security. We also have our Advanced Site Shield add-on, and we partner with PatchDeck in the background as part of that service to scan plugins and themes for vulnerabilities and fix them. We partner with NOC for our CDN. So we have a CDN built in for the customers for helping with performance. And then we have AWS in the background to give us best in class. We have the absolute fastest servers that are available in the market through AWS. And we partner with other vendors to give us the best services possible to put together a really awesome hosting package.
Okay. In terms of your affiliate program, so when I was working at Convezio, we had a bit of a challenge with that at the beginning because we had quite a unique product and also priced higher than your standard hosting provider. So we had challenges trying to get affiliates to properly position us against other competitors. Are you finding sort of similar challenges when you're talking to affiliates, when you're trying to recruit affiliates, and when you're trying to get affiliates to sort of write up about you?
We've had pretty good success actually getting partners and affiliates to write about us. I would say there are a couple things that are to our advantage for affiliates. So one is we're able to offer a flat $150 commission per referral, which is pretty high. And we're able to do that because we're at the middle to higher end of hosting. We're not, like the GoDaddies of the world. So there's room for paying out commissions because we're offering a high performance product. And we're kind of a niche product. So many of the hosts are going after the same market, publishing. But when you have e-commerce sites and membership sites and community platforms, we're really the only game in town that's specifically targeting that customer base. So we have affiliates who are, influencing a community of BuddyBoss users or who have a customer base of e-commerce users or e-learning. And so because it's targeted, they're able to convert. So we've had some pretty successful affiliates who are doing well with our affiliate program. So yeah, we pay $150 flat commission per referral. But if you're driving consistent volume, let's say 20 plus referrals per month, we're also open to custom arrangements. So we have some agencies who drive a lot, and we talk to them and come up with an arrangement that works with them.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I suppose when you are targeting quite a specific segment of the market and you get affiliates that get that, then it's easier to collaborate them and it's easier for them to promote you. Okay, so in the next section, we will look at an example of a partnership that Rapyd Cloud might have with an agency. So just to share the slides. Okay. So the scenario here is an agency that is going to market with a WAS-like membership package. In this case, I thought about a community of practice in the scientific research community, where each instance is catering for between 250 and 2,500 members that regularly log in to participate in community discussions. You might have events and so on. And perhaps on average, between 50 and 500 attendees concurrently. So in terms of pricing, perhaps this agency is offering this particular setup for about $1,000 a month. And so would you like to look at the costs to be able to service that? And then we can look at the margin and discuss if the margin that I speculated there makes sense. It might be too high or maybe too low. So the hosting cost, this is the Rapyd Cloud cost, and that's $191 a month. Of course, if you sign up for a year, that price comes down. And that's for, I think it's the Business 3 plan. Can you just talk a little bit about the specs for that particular package?
So just to be clear, our starting price is $29 a month paid annually for our lowest tier plan. So you don't have to pay $191 a month, just so people are aware. But if you have, in this particular setup, they've got BuddyBoss, so they have a community platform running, and they're using the app. So the app is, requires a lot of resources. It's all API driven. So for this particular type of scenario, and given the concurrency of users, we would suggest a Business 3 plan or up. So Business 3 is $191 a month if paid monthly. They can also pay annually. If they pay annually, then they get 2 months free effectively. So it averages out to $159 a month.
If I'm not mistaken, your lower end tiers are relatively new. When did you launch them?
Yeah, we didn't always have them. In the last couple of months, we launched entry level package because we know a lot of our customers. First, couple things. So we also earlier in the year launched multi-site environments. So now any outside of the very bottom tier, all the other plans are multi-site capable. So with you could have that $191 a month plan, and that could be your main site. But you could, if you had a small site that's not using a lot of resources, you could throw it in that same container. And then we also have, if you just have a single site that's small, you can buy our lowest tier plan. So it's good for a site that's still in development, or maybe just a site that's, a marketing site that's just all cached or something like that. You can use it for that.
If you're on your Business 3 tier, though, you get more than one instance of WordPress, right? So you can have your stage and you can have your marketing landing page.
All the plans include the ability to have a staging site. So in theory, each site you deploy is 2 sites. It's the production site and the staging site. Above Starter 1, all the plans are multi-site. And you can see on our pricing page, rapyd.cloud/pricing. If you go to our pricing page, each pricing tier, it shows you how many sites are included. So meaning if a plan includes 3 sites, you could theoretically deploy up to 3 sites in that plan. Now, you have to be aware of your usage, right? If your sites are big sites that are overusing resources, then we're going to suggest you bump higher so that you're able to provide the resources that work for your usage. But yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. So looking at each of the line items here, you've got BuddyBoss Web, which is, I suppose, the main BuddyBoss product. It's the site, it's the theme, it's all the features. That's, again, if you're paying upfront for a whole year, that monthly price goes down a bit. The BuddyBoss app, as you were referring to, is actually to get the community aspects on iPhones and Androids. Is that what it does?
Yeah, so BuddyBoss Web, and again, this is not bought at Rapyd, this is bought at BuddyBoss.com, my former company. But BuddyBoss Web is basically the BuddyBoss platform, which is a plugin, and the BuddyBoss theme. So it gives you plugin and a theme that give you a full community features on WordPress. It's like almost everything you see on Facebook: profiles, messages, notifications, groups and forums, and all this stuff. And BuddyBoss app takes all those features and puts them in a native mobile app, both that you publish in your own app store for iOS and Android. And it also supports a lot of other WordPress stuff. It supports LearnDash and generic WordPress content and things like that. That's kind of this, in this example use case scenario, that would be the stack. And by the way, we host more than 50% of BuddyBoss app customers are on Rapyd because we are the best solution for it. And 100% should be on it because we're really, they'll see performance gains. But yeah, more than half the customers. So if you're using BuddyBoss app, you should probably come over here because you will see really good performance gains. Yeah, so that's the stack put with our hosting. And then as you mentioned here, they have a couple other plugins in there. That's an estimate of whatever those plugins cost, plus some support from developers, to maintain their site. But the platform is a plugin, so all the functionality of the community comes from the plugin. And then BuddyBoss theme takes all that functionality and makes it look nice. It doesn't just make it look nice, it gives it a good user experience. You can imagine when you have almost all the features of Facebook and you just run that in a generic WordPress theme, it's going to be a bad user experience. So it's designed around styling all that functionality in a nice way. So if you buy BuddyOS Web, it includes a BuddyOS platform, but you can download BuddyOS platform on your own for free. But it's the theme and the platform packaged together.
Okay, now that makes sense. So I've added a couple of items relating to running the whole stack. No doubt that a setup like this will require some other plugins. So I think I've been quite generous with the costing there, $50 a month and 2 hours worth of support a month to keep the stack up to date. So the grand total for, let's say, an agency running a site like this was it's just over $500 a month. In terms of what the agency will price their customers, as I mentioned earlier, I've priced it about $1,000 a month. But in your experience, is this a realistic price, or do you see higher pricing for this kind of example, or lower?
Well, so BuddyOS Web and app are, those are fixed costs. The hosting, that's the correct price for that hosting tier. Now, whether that's the correct tier for you depends on so many scenarios. It depends on how much traffic you actually have. It depends on what those other plugins are, because each plugins have their own resource requirements. So there's a lot of variation. It's like how many API requests do you have at a given time on your site. And if you have 2,500 members, are 2 of them logging in concurrently, or is it 500 concurrent? Concurrent really means like in the same second. So it takes a lot to get 500 truly being concurrent. So there's a lot of variation, but it's going to be in that range. I would say the biggest variation here is really the other plugins and the support. Because some sites have 1 other plugin and some have 50. And the support, maybe you have a developer an hour a week who helps you, or maybe you're paying an agency to build all kinds of stuff for you. Those are the big variations. But the general stack of the software and the hosting is pretty much accurate.
Okay. So thinking about the agency's client that is buying this subscription they might be charging $20 a month. And I suppose in many cases, your customers are not even charging. It's free communities. If they're charging $20 a month, and if the numbers are correct, then potentially they are earning anything between $10,000 and $50,000 a month just on memberships. And obviously that covers all these technical costs. Is this the kind of scenario that you see with your customers?
Yeah, we have customers who have hundreds of thousands of visitors, some of them. And some of the customers are really successful and do make in that range. We have customers like that, for sure.
Okay. What level of support do you offer an agency that is in market with a solution like this that is on your Business 3 tier? And
sure.
How does support look like, particularly in the context of those live events that probably make the technical team and the marketing quite nervous?
So first, we have 24/7 live chat support for all the customers. So these customers are going to get 24/7 live chat support, and our support team is fantastic. We have the team are a mix of people who we brought in who had previously worked at other hosting companies, and some of them are people who used to work at BuddyBoss. So they know BuddyBoss and they know communities and WordPress, and they also know hosting. So our support is fantastic, and we have you can go to love.rapyd.cloud, RAPYD, and you can see just endless testimonials from our customers. We have very high customer satisfaction. So that's included out of the box. If a customer is a bigger client and they want more hands-on support, they can pay for our enhanced support package, which is $100 a month, or it comes free in the higher tier plans. And that gives them a dedicated account manager and higher ticket priority. And if you're really big, if you're an agency, you can also pay for our elite support, which is $500 a month. And that gives you a dedicated private Slack channel where you're actually just chatting with us like in real time in Slack. With a dedicated account manager. So we have all those available. But yeah, I mean, everyone gets 24/7 live chat support. And what does support look like? I mean, you have a chat bubble in there, and you can chat with them, and our support is very hands-on.
Yeah, I think that's kind of necessary if you're running this kind of business, which as I mentioned, whenever you have live events or scaling events or e-commerce campaigns.
I also want to mention that about the live events. So we have performance boosts available too. We don't really market it, but we will.
Right.
We will soon. But if you talk to support and say, hey, on October 15th to 20th, we're running this big campaign and I need more resources. Our infrastructure allows us to scale resources up and down dynamically without any downtime. And we can actually schedule for you. We can say for this window of time, we're going to increase your resources and just charge you the difference for that period of time and schedule it. And we can increase the resources on the CPU and the RAM and everything available at the site, and then bring it back down at the end. So we have the ability to do that, and we do that with customers.
Okay. So I'm going to skip the next two questions that I had written down because I think you've already answered them, but I've just thought of another one, which I think is quite interesting.
Okay.
Are you seeing sort of an increase in demand for, let's call them private communities and membership sites, as people become a little bit dissatisfied with the usual social networks and the usual, group features on the social networks like Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups? Is there a bit of a trend that way?
It's been happening since COVID. So
Right.
I can tell you, having run Buddy House from 2010 until 2024, 2020 we got a big boom in customers. Once everything went online, there was a increase in people using community platforms generally, and there is massive dissatisfaction with Facebook because for a variety of reasons. I mean, they sell your data. In your community, you have no control over the content. They own all the data. They sell your data. They also promote negativity, and people are sort of catching on to that and not liking it. So within your community, whoever's, let's say you have 1,000 customers, and some percentage of them are going to be dissatisfied for a reason. So you have 10 who are yelling and saying all this negative stuff. Everyone else is happy. Facebook's going to take the really angry, negative stuff, and they're going to promote that, because Facebook's goal is not aligned with your goal always. Their goal is to drive engagement at any cost so people will stay there and they can serve ads to the customer. So negativity drives engagement. So they're looking for negativity, the algorithm, and you're within your community. So a lot of people don't like that. So yes, people are leaving Facebook and trying to control their own community. And it doesn't mean they totally leave. A lot of Buddy Boss customers still have a Facebook group, because they have customers who are there, but they want to bring as much of the content under their own umbrella as they can.
And they can also control the user experience and add features.
Plugins, you can hack up the code, you can change the design, you can charge for access. I mean, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Now that was really interesting. So in this next section, just talking a little bit more about your partner program and how you work with partners. So typically, what kind of businesses, agencies, and customers do you work with?
Yep.
Do you partner with?
For sure. So we've partnered with a number of agencies, for one thing. So development agencies often who are doing custom, they have clients and they're doing custom development and features for those clients, and they need to recommend they need a hosting partner basically to recommend for those sites. And if the agency is doing e-commerce sites, community sites, membership sites, e-learning sites, they have trouble finding a good host that can handle the sites and have good reliability for their customer. So they're looking for someone reliable who can, scale with their customers, and they find us and end up partnering with us.
Okay. And how do they get going with Rapyd Cloud, and how do you support them? But perhaps this time, maybe you can talk not so much about the technical side of things, but more of the business side of things. There might be an agency that has no experience in this particular space.
For sure. So first, you can go look up our affiliate program, and they can sign up. You can just straight up just sign up as an affiliate, and you get an affiliate link, and you can start promoting us. Again, $150 commission for each referral. If you're driving, high volume, we can put together a custom arrangement. That's the easiest way to get started. But we're also very hands-on. So we provide a really white glove kind of service. So for one thing, let's say you're an agency and you have a bunch of customer sites you need to bring over here. We do free migrations for those sites. So we will bring the sites over for you. And we also will help with probably if you're coming to us, you have some customers who are experiencing performance issues. And so we will do performance optimization during the migration. So we look through the site, we look at their caching setup, OP cache, we look for database optimization, we assess the plugins they have and look for recommendations for the plugins. We basically find the parts of their sites that are causing performance bottlenecks, and we'll work with the agency to try to resolve that stuff. So, we will help you. We'll help you out to make sure it's all successful.
Okay. In the next segments, we talk a little bit about the future. Okay, and
sure.
Obviously, I need to ask about AI, right? So AI seems to be changing everything these days. How are you guys looking at AI? And is there anything you can share about perhaps things you're working on which relate to AI?
Sure. I mean, one is within the internals of the business, using AI as much as possible. Developers using AI to code faster and do unit testing with AI and things like that. Our support, we have our whole knowledge base is trained. There's a language model that is trained on our support knowledge base. So when you ask a when you go to a support ticket and ask a question, the AI knows the answer to a lot of basic stuff, which means you get to answer quicker. And it also means that when you have a more challenging question that requires someone hands-on, you're more likely to get somebody in a timely manner because people have availability because all the easy questions are being answered by the AI. So we're doing stuff like that. And I'm sure over time we'll incorporate AI even more into doing performance analysis on sites and things like that. And of course, the customers are bringing in AI also. So page builders are all using AI. WordPress itself is being changed to use AI. Like more and more, the WordPress sites themselves are bringing in AI. And those types of products are harder to host than flat publishing sites. And so we're built around those types of platforms.
Okay, is there anything exciting that you can share that you're working on?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So first, we've recently launched our Rapyd 2.0 dashboard just earlier this year. So when we originally launched Rapyd Cloud, we had the initial version of our dashboard, which we were very proud of and people liked. However, it had a lot of limitations, and one of them was that you could only have one site per environment. That's how we achieved this massive level of scale. Our sort of MVP of it required us to have one site per environment. And so at some point we knew that it was very important that customers be able to have multiple sites per environment. That was like one of the highest things people were demanding. And so we took that as an opportunity to re-envision our dashboard. So we actually spent a big part of the year redesigning our whole user dashboard. So we have the Rapyd Cloud 2.0 dashboard, which is nicer to use, more tools in there, has the ability to have multiple sites per environment. When you deploy a WordPress site, it deploys faster. We've totally optimized our WooCommerce integrations and given people more fine-tuned administration of their environments in the 2.0 dashboard. So we launched that, but most of the customers are still on the 1.0. And we could have just left them there, but we know that it provides a tremendous value to each customer to be on 2.0. So the big project we're working on right now, it takes us like 2 or 3 hours per customer, but we are actually migrating every single customer to 2.0. Because we think it provides value for the customers. We want everyone to be on our latest and greatest. So that's our big project right now we're working on in the background. And I think customers are really pleased with those updates.
Okay, because I remember trying out your dashboard maybe a year ago and it was already pretty good. So now I'm curious about what the second version looks like.
I mean, it's not like dramatically different, but we've polished a lot of things. We've taken a lot of user feedback and implemented it. And it's just an overall nicer, more powerful experience.
Yeah, and that's key. So I've spoken to other hosting providers, and the dashboard experience is nearly as important as the product itself. Also because then you can start also integrating some cross-selling and upselling opportunities.
Right.
But that's another discussion. So just to conclude, a couple more questions. Do you have any thoughts more broadly about collaborating and partnering in the WordPress space? And look, I ask this question because at the latest WordCamps that I've attended, agencies, developers, and other WordPress product businesses seem to be very much focusing on the business side more than the technical side. I think everyone is kind of looking at ways to, ultimately to generate more revenue. So I'm just curious to know what you think. Do you have any thoughts about the WordPress ecosystem and how WordPress businesses can collaborate more and partner more?
Sure. I mean, I think human connection is the most important thing. So when you're working online, especially in like this post-COVID world where people are in their home office and stuff, it's easy to just do everything online and be in your own silo. But the human connection is so powerful. We have, I've attended WordCamps forever. And so first, if you're a business owner, I know a lot of business owners who've never been to a WordCamp, who are in the WordPress ecosystem. I highly suggest going to the WordCamps because what happens at the WordCamps are you meet in person with one. If you have a staff who are virtual, that's an opportunity to all hang out together. You go out for dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
But also you meet the other business owners and you can really build partnerships and strengthen the relationships. So if people don't know, there's three big, there's local ones, but there's 3 big WordCamps each year. There's WordCamp US, WordCamp Asia, WordCamp Europe. WordCamp Asia is coming up in April in Mumbai in India. Will for sure be the biggest WordCamp ever, I'm sure. So I'd highly suggest going to WordCamps. There's also PressConf. Is a new conference that's in Tempe, Arizona. We went last year and it was fantastic. And then, be active, go on LinkedIn and connect with people, get on calls with people, do webinars like this. Like it really comes down to just taking the effort to build relationships with people. Just because we're working online doesn't mean that a relationship building is out the window. It's no different than an in-person business in that sense, that when you take time to hang out with people, you go out to dinner with them, you talk to them and stuff, that's where the relationship building really happens. And then after that, then it's easy. Once you have a relationship with someone, then you can make a Slack connect and, start collaborating and stuff.
And look, I echo that sentiment 100%, and that's exactly what happened to us as well. I didn't personally attend WordCamp Europe. Some of my colleagues did, but it was an eye opener. And we then decided to go, okay, we're going to be going to many more WordCamps. We went to WordCamp Lithuania, WordCamp one in Croatia, even smaller ones as sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
They're so valuable in terms of meeting people and connecting and even understanding where the market is heading. Okay, so
Sure.
The final question is, where can people learn more about Rapyd Cloud, even in relation to what your marketing team is doing and the content, because actually it's pretty good stuff.
So it's rapyd.cloud. So you can go rapyd.cloud and learn about us there. You can also go to, let me go in our browser here, feedback.rapyd.cloud. And if you go there, we have a public roadmap on feedback.rapyd.cloud where we publish, I have to update that, but where we publish high-level things that we're working on. And we're also very active on LinkedIn. So our Rapyd Cloud LinkedIn account is publishing when we have podcasts and other things going on, marketing things, we publish them there. And I'm pretty active on LinkedIn myself. Feel free to connect with me.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being super generous with your time. And this has been a really interesting discussion. I follow trends left, right, and center. And I'm particularly interested to see what's happening with private communities and membership sites in the context of people being dissatisfied with the big platforms. And I think it's also aligns with the mission of WordPress to kind of democratize and even decentralize business and connection. So it's really interesting what you're doing.
Thank you.